Hello friends, it's Jo. Welcome back to my channel. I am back in my crafty little room today and I thought I would create a Valentine's Day card / anniversary card for my hubby. Valentine's Day obviously is just a couple of days away and we actually have an anniversary later on that week. So I'm just going to show you a little bit, make one card and be done with it. So I thought I would use an embossing folder. Yesterday I taught a group of ladies 15 or 16 different ways to use our embossing folders. So I thought I would try one of the little techniques that we did yesterday on my card. I've also got these little leaves. Now this is a really old Martha Stewart punch. This is actually my third one. This is an absolute favorite. It's one that I just can't part with. So I'm going to try that. So I'm digging deep into the stash here. I've got a simple little sentiment, little wood veneer sentiment, and a couple of hearts that I've just die cut out of pattern paper, and I've stacked them up a couple of times on white cardstock. Also have some oxide inks. Sticking with pink, I know it's probably not the best but for males, but I don't care. Valentine's Day is generally pink and red, so let's just stick with that. So what I'm going to do first is this embossing folder here is called Deck Planks. I'm going to pop some colour on this. So I'm wanting to put the ink, I need to always stop and think here, I want to put the ink on this side so that it's going to impress that way up. Okay. So I've got spun sugar and I've got aged mahogany. This is a really light colour, which is why I've pulled this one here out, because I'm thinking I may need to add a touch of this. So I'm just going direct here and I am giving this a really good press. I'm covering all of the folder even though my card base is only 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to chop it down anyway. So I've chopped it down first this time, just so I don't have to chop it once it's all been embossed. So it probably looks like there's nothing on there. We're soon going to find out. So I want the lines, which way do I want my lines running? That way down my card. Looking rather straight. Yep, so 2 seconds while I run this through my embossing machine. So these are 3D folders, so you will need to just fiddle with your machine as to what is the best sandwich. Okay, let's see how we go. I think this is going to be really light. It is very light. I don't know if you can see that or not. So what I think I might do now is I'm going to come back in with some of this aged mahogany. Now this is obviously a really stark contrast between these two. So to put this on my folder, I'm actually going to use a brush and I'm going to just gently swipe across in areas. I don't want it to be completely covered because I still want to get like a bit of a gradient of that lighter pink as well. I haven't cleaned the other colour off either. I've left that there. Now, let's run that back through our folder. So I'm going to need to line this up again, and this should just click into place. And back to our folder, our machine, sorry. Okay, so I can see we've got a little bit more colour on here now. Oh, that's better. Check that out. Just give that folder a bit of a clean so I don't forget later on. So that's much nicer. It's still got some of the lighter colour as well. I'll bring that up so you can have a closer look. Oh, that's the back of the folder. So you could use either side. I kind of like the valleys in the front of this one. Okay, so that is my background done. I may need to trim this down if I want this to go on my card front. I might just trim that down now. So I might just trim that down 1/4 of an inch. Probably should have done that before I embossed, just so it doesn't squash too much of that embossing. Let's see how we go. So I'm just taking 1/8 off of each side. Is that 1/4? Whoops. There we go. So I've got 1/8 here. Slipped a little bit. And 5 1/4. Okay. Just so I can pop that on my card base and have a bit of a border. I think I might colour this too, but we can work that out later. Okay, now I have all these little leaves. So this was a little technique that I done on a Christmas card a little while ago. I made it as a wreath, obviously in green with the little red pearls, but this time I'm thinking of doing it something a little bit more neutral. So that's the brown, and then that's the white. Oh, I think I'm going to have to go with this darker colour. Right, let's try that. So I'm going to, let's see. Just going to pop a pencil mark around that. This doesn't need to be perfect. This is just to give me a bit of an idea where my leaves are going to sit. Yeah. Okay. I think glue is the best for this. And it's just a case of sticking these just around that circle. So to give you an idea, I think I punched out about 20 or 25 of these little leaves. And this is also great stash buster as well. All your little paper pieces that you've got left. From memory, this paper was, I think it was a Prima line actually. It was the farm something or other, Sweet Farm or something. You could also make this as full as you want to make it as well. If you wanted to punch more, you could come back in and make that a really big leafy wreath. But these are great for Christmas cards. So this video is in real time. I am not an expert at the whole technology side of things, so you may want to just fast forward a little bit to the end to see what my card's going to end up like. It is something I'm working on. My son does what little video editing there is on my channel, and trying to nail him down to do it isn't always easy. He's busy with things going on in his life, so sometimes it's good though to see a video without all the editing as well. You get to see that I also make mistakes. I'm by no means perfect at doing this. I learn along the way. When these are a little dry as well, I'm going to come back and just pull them up a little bit. Could actually put another one in there maybe. Might just pop another one in that gap. There we go, that's a little bit better. So there we've got our little wreath. Just making sure they're not all stuck down. Could come back in and add a few more, but I'm going to carry on with the rest of the card. I do have some left over. So my idea now is just to pop these simple little hearts down here. I could pop them in the middle. Could even go in the middle, couldn't I? My original thought was just off to the side here. I'm going to stick with my original thought right here, I think. So I didn't need to stick all of these leaves underneath this part here because you're not going to see it, but at least I get the circle straight and I get my placement straight. So a little bit of glue. These are just pattern paper doubled up with some white cardstock. Could hang that off a little bit, couldn't I? There we go. And then I'm going to just pop this one over the top. Oops. I'm going to pop this over the top. I don't need no soppy kind of sentiment. He knows I love him. I might leave it that colour. I was going to colour it gold, but I might leave it this colour, I think. Pop that there. So this little technique with this little wreath, you could use hearts, you could turn it into a Christmas wreath like I was saying. You could also use little flowers as well. You could pop maybe a little bee or a butterfly in the corner here. There's quite a few different little elements that you could add to change it up each time. So I'm just going to come back in and pull these up a little bit just to give it a little bit more of a 3D look. Okay. And then I need to pop this on my card base. And this is where I was thinking, it's very white, the background. It's not too bad like that. I was going to add the aged mahogany ink. I think I might do that. Let me just grab some scrap paper. Oops. And again, this is another little go-to that I have been using all the time lately to save on coloured cardstock and also bulk on my cards. I will just ink around the outside and it looks like it's then coloured cardstock. No one's going to see the middle of it, so I'm just trying to hit the edges. And I think, yeah, I kind of like that, just frames it a bit better. Had to have coffee. I really like this aged mahogany with pink colours. Okay, there we go. Now I know that looks like a hot mess in the middle. No one's going to see it. It's still a little wet as well. There we go. Let's pop some glue on the back of that. The reason I'm using glue and not my tape runner is I don't want to flatten the embossing. Normally I would use tape. Everybody knows I'm not a glue person, but on this occasion it needs to be glue. There we go. Valentine's Day anniversary done in one. This is slightly off. I'm just going to trim that later on so you won't see that. But there's my card. A really quick, simple little way of using your leaf punches. You've probably all got them. I've got a couple of different shapes, so try different shapes as well and different embellishments. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed that, please pop back and check what else I've got to share with you, and subscribe would be really good too. I'll talk to you soon. See you later.